The development of Mahayana and Hinayana Buddhism in India. Buddhism is one of the major religions in the world, and it originated in India over 2,500 years ago. Buddhism is based on the teachings of Siddhartha Gautama, who became known as the Buddha, or the Enlightened One. Over time, Buddhism has evolved into different branches, including Mahayana and Hinayana. In this essay, we will explore the development of Mahayana and Hinayana Buddhism in India. Hinayana Buddhism in India. Hinayana, also known as Theravada, is the oldest form of Buddhism and is based on the earliest Buddhist texts, known as the Pali Canon. Hinayana Buddhism focuses on individual enlightenment and the elimination of suffering through the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The Hinayana tradition is still practiced in Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma, and other parts of Southeast Asia. In India, Hinayana Buddhism was widespread during the time of the Buddha, but it declined in popularity after his death. The Hinayana tradition continued to be practiced in Sri Lanka, but it was largely replaced by Mahayana Buddhism in India. Mahayana Buddhism in India. Mahayana Buddhism emerged in India around the 1st century say, several centuries after the death of the Buddha. Mahayana means great vehicle and emphasizes the importance of compassion and the Bodhisattva path, which involves working for the enlightenment of all beings, not just oneself. Mahayana Buddhism also incorporates a wider range of texts than Hinayana Buddhism, including the Lotus Sutra and the Diamond Sutra. Mahayana Buddhism was particularly popular in northern India, where it developed into several distinct schools, including the Madhyamaka and Yogacara schools. The Madhyamaka school, founded by Nagarjuna, emphasized the emptiness or lack of inherent existence of all phenomena, while the Yogacara school, founded by Asanga and Vasubandhu, emphasized the importance of meditation and the mind. Mahayana Buddhism also spread beyond India, particularly to China, Korea, and Japan. In these countries, it developed into several distinct traditions, including Chan, Zen Buddhism in China and Seon Buddhism in Korea. The relationship between Mahayana and Hinayana Buddhism. Despite their differences, Mahayana and Hinayana Buddhism share a common foundation in the teachings of the Buddha. Mahayana Buddhism emerged as a response to what some saw as limitations in Hinayana Buddhism, particularly its emphasis on individual enlightenment and the Arhat path. Mahayana Buddhism also incorporated elements of Indian philosophy and culture, including the concept of the Bodhisattva, which was already present in Indian thought. The Bodhisattva ideal, which emphasizes working for the enlightenment of all beings, reflected the broader social and cultural context of India at the time, which was marked by a growing interest in social welfare and the welfare of all beings. Conclusion. In conclusion, the development of Buddhism in India involved the emergence of two major traditions, Hinayana and Mahayana. Hinayana Buddhism emphasized individual enlightenment and the elimination of suffering through the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, while Mahayana Buddhism emphasized the Bodhisattva path and the importance of compassion for all beings. Mahayana Buddhism emerged in response to perceived limitations in Hinayana Buddhism and incorporated elements of Indian philosophy and culture. Today, both traditions continue to be practiced around the world, each with its own unique teachings and practices. Certainly, here are some additional points about the development of Mahayana and Hinayana Buddhism in India. The development of Mahayana Buddhism in India was marked by the emergence of new texts, known as sutras, which were believed to have been revealed by the Buddha himself. These sutras included the Lotus Sutra, the Heart Sutra, and the Diamond Sutra, among others. These texts expanded on the teachings of the Buddha and emphasized the importance of the Bodhisattva path and the cultivation of compassion for all beings. Mahayana Buddhism also developed a complex system of cosmology and metaphysics, which included the concept of the three